In solo leveling, after Jin-Chul informs the chairman of the Korean Hunter Association that China wanted information on the S-ranker Sung Jin-Woo, he's confused as to why they were showing interest in him even after he publicly stated his disinterest in being scouted into any other country. Jin-Chul said that it wasn't the Chinese government who requested the information, but rather an individual. That individual being China's 7-star and national-level hunter Liu Zhigang. The story explains how China doesn't follow the world's standard ranking system, but rather use their nation's own unique classifications. 5 stars was the highest possible obtainable rank, which is equal to that of an S rank. However, just one person, Liu Zhigang, is the only hunter known as a 7-star hunter, making him the only exception to this rule. The chairman questioned why someone like him was suddenly showing interest in Jin-Woo, but Jin-Chul explains that Liu Zhigang had fought against a giant that had escaped from Japan, and after seeing its strength, it would be obvious he would be interested in the one who defeated all of them. The chairman smiled to himself, thinking that it was a situation where the strong recognize the strong, telling Jin-Chul to deny his request, but if it presents a problem, to just send him some superficial information. In the Scavenger Guild in America, Laura informs Thomas Andre that Big Papa Wu would be arriving in the country tomorrow. "It's already tomorrow, huh?" he responded. Huang Dong-Su opened the door, asking if he had called for him. Thomas responded, saying he was here just in time, saying he had something to tell him urgently. Walking up to him, saying he would get straight to the point, menacingly saying, "Do not touch Sung Jin-Woo." Dong-Su looks terrified by this warning, unable to utter a single word. Andre explains that he knows of the situation between Jin-Woo and his brother's murder, saying he understands he has his doubts and seeks revenge. But, Dong-Su said, until Andre suddenly reaches out to him with his hand in the fraction of a second, pointing his finger right before his face, saying he didn't remember giving him permission to speak. Dong-Su seems to be absolutely shitting in his pants by the terrifying aura Thomas Andre was emitting. Laura watches the interaction between both hunters, thinking Huang should just shut up and listen to his daddy, stating that there aren't many people who can warn and threaten a top ranker like that. However, Dong-Su's obsession towards his enemies is equal to that of Thomas Andre. He repeats again, "Do not, under any circumstances, touch Sung Jin-Woo," and orders him to take a vacation at the guild resort while the guild conference is going on, asking him if he would do him this favor. Dong-Su responds in frustration, "Yes, sir," leaving the room. Laura asks if he thought it was all right to let him leave like that. Andre responds, saying he knows there's no way he's given up yet, telling her to keep a close eye on him until Jin-Woo leaves the U.S. Laura asks if he would do as he's told like a good boy. Andre responds, saying sure he'd rather be a little bit uncomfortable than dead. The day of the conference arrives. As the representative of Germany, the Richter Guild touches down in the U.S. Leonard Neerman, the guild master, asked his vice master what all these reporters were so excited about. He responds saying that the Korean hunter everyone's been talking about is supposed to be arriving today. "Speak of the devil," the vice master said, spotting Jin-Woo in the crowd, which made Leonard ask if they should go say hi since there's nothing to lose from being acquainted with a strong hunter like him. But while taking a closer look at him, he noticed something terrifying, making him shake in his boots. Leonard asks his vice master if he really didn't see what he was seeing, making him confused, since he really didn't see anything. He came to the realization that Jin-Woo didn't summon creatures from other dimensions, but rather were all around him at all times, stating that with those numbers, he could wage war against the entirety of the United States. Jin-Woo turns around, making Jin-Ho ask if he saw someone he knew, but he responds saying it wasn't that, but there was a foreigner that kept looking at him strangely. Jin-Ho said that with all the times he's been on the news lately, he must have a lot of fans, saying he must have wanted an autograph or something. Jin-Ho turns to look at Jin-Chul, asking him why he was here, making him choke by the sudden questions. He responded whispering that he's been assigned on the task of protecting Jin-Woo. Jin-Ho looked him dead in the eye, asking if he could repeat that. Jin-Chul nervously said, "Protecting Hunter Sung, protecting who?" Jin-Ho asked, making Jin-Chul look really depressed. Jin-Woo pointed out that it seemed like they were here to greet them. Adam White shows up saying that they've been waiting for him. Drip Woo is confused since he recalls him being in charge of the Bureau's branch in Asia. Adam responds laughing, saying that was the case until recently, but now he's in charge of matters regarding him instead. Adam explains that the people coming with him would be escorted to their rooms and asks Drippy Woo if he would mind coming with him, making him question if this was about his father. But Adam tries to explain that this wasn't something that would harm him, since he knows how highly the United States Hunter Bureau values him. Drippy Woo asked if he could tell him what it was about. Adam responds, saying it was a matter of top-secret classified information. On the way to the Hunter Bureau's headquarters, Adam explains that they're under serious pressure due to the sudden death of the national-level hunter Christopher Reed, who was considered to be a crucial pillar of America's combat power, meaning they're desperately trying to fill the void he left behind. Although things still remain calm on the surface due to the fact his death hasn't been publicized yet, they will soon start investing their resources into looking for a hunter who can replace him. "And I'm one of the candidates?" Drippy Woo responded, making him nod his head, confirming it. Adam pulls out a hologram explaining that the value of a rune stone is proportional to the power of the monster it was extracted from, stating that mankind's greatest calamity, the dragon Kamish, and the rune stone that was extracted from it, which is in their possession. The U.S. is looking for a new owner of that rune stone, asking Drippy Woo what he thought of this latest proposition. Jin-Woo, surprised by the images, quickly tells Adam to flip back through the photos, which confused him, though he did as he's told, asking if he was talking about Kamish's corpse. Drippy Woo asks if the U.S. had been keeping Kamish's corpse stored intact, which he confirms nervously. Jin-Woo suddenly asked where it was, telling him they should go there first, confusing Adam even further. But Drippy Woo says that he's given the Hunters Bureau much of his time without complaints, so he's sure this isn't too much for him to ask. Adam White tries to explain that the extent of his knowledge only extends to what he's been permitted to know by the higher authorities, meaning he doesn't know the exact location to Kamish's corpse either. But if it were a request from Papa Wu himself, he doesn't think it would be too hard to get permission and asks him if he would mind waiting a minute. A few hours later at the Hunter Bureau headquarters, the director questioned if Drippy Woo was here right now and asked Adam White if he said anything at all about the rune stone. Adam responded, saying it was never brought up again throughout the entire day, making Mr. Brennan sigh since all he wanted to really see was the corpse. The director asked Adam White to leave, saying he needed to speak to the deputy director. A few seconds later, Mr. Brennan asked the deputy director what he thought his reasons were for wanting to see the corpse. He responded saying he wasn't sure, but he's certain he didn't want to see it just to see it like a tourist, and explains that hunters would normally spend millions of dollars in order to get a rune stone, meaning it's synonymous to a hunter's strength, which is also equal to their lives, meaning that just seeing the corpse would be more valuable to him than gaining a skill. Mr. Brennan goes on to ask if his abilities were only related to monsters he's killed himself, making the deputy director finally realize something crucial, thinking to himself, just what if he can make monsters he didn't kill himself, and that died a long time ago, into his summons. After this realization, he informs the director, shouting that he plans on turning Kamish into his summon. Mr. Brennan suddenly gets up from his chair, shouting that if that's really the case, then he can't allow it, since no individual should be allowed to be that strong. The deputy director explains that if they refuse this request, then it would be difficult to maintain a relationship with Drippy Woo. Mr. Brennan sighs, thinking deeply about what to do in this situation. But since there's no other option, he says, "I'll take him there myself," stating that this could be a good opportunity to check out his ability. Actually are. In the elevator on the way down, Mr. Brennan said that it would have been better to sit down and talk things through, but he knows this is what he'd prefer instead. Drippy Woo is surprised by the fact they actually built the Hunter Bureau headquarters right on top of the spot where Kamish was killed. On the way to the corpse, Diddy Woo notices that there was magic energy mixed into the air and was awed by the fact that mana could still remain even after 8 entire years, questioning how powerful it would be after turning it into a shadow soldier. Kamish's corpse can be seen in full view, towering over the tiny humans. Mr. Brennan explains that they've kept its corpse intact, just as it was after killing hundreds of elite hunters before being killed by the 5 remaining national-level hunters. He then goes on to say that the energy used by the Hunter Bureau headquarters is also supplied by Kamish's mana crystal. "Please stand back," Drippy Woo stated, walking forward towards Kamish's corpse. The deputy director asked if this was really okay. Mr. Brennan responded, saying it was all right since he already gave him his permission, stating that they should just sit back and watch and see what happens. Drippy Woo raises his hand towards the glass, saying the singular word, "erect." Hit that follow thing.